As I thought, I'll just record a quick video on how I set up my keep for SvS to be SvS ready. I know we wanted to just discuss this on a Discord call, but it just seems like we don't have really much time to have this calls these days, or at least get more people on it. But hopefully this helps give some insight of how you would set up your keep before getting ready for SvS. Look, this is mainly for a keep that is defensive minded, or at least I'm like my keep is a trap keep, or started off as a trap keep. So if you wanna set your keep up to take defensive hits or take hits from the enemy keeps, then this is kind of the method that you'd use. Okay, so first we'll come in here and we'll start off by our defensive generals. So you go to your wall. So here you want to equip your PvP general. So I'll take Shajar off the wall, and my main assistant general is Leo the Third. So let me just say one of my favorites. So I'll equip Leo. So I'll put Leo on the wall. Okay, so that's my wall already. Okay, next what I want to do is I just want to make sure that my wall general, my main wall general, which is Boudica at the moment, so I just want to ensure that all of the gear, the correct gear, is equipped. Sometimes I'll remove the gear because of my duty generals, or because I'm doing some other activities in game. But before SvS, I just want to make sure that the correct gear is equipped. So all the gear with the correct refines, etc. Yeah. Okay, so that's set up. Next step is to come to my Monarch talents and my Monarch gear. Okay, so for me, taking mostly defensive hits, or just being a defensive keep primarily, and because my main defense is T1 mounted, I want cavalry as my mounted gear setup as my main Monarch gear. So during SvS, this is what I'll have equipped. I'll keep my healing crown on. So my healing crown, because I once I take a hit, I want to heal my layers. And similarly in Battlefield, the same the same applies for Battlefield as well. Over here, I want to keep on this March speed courageous one. The reason being is because if you're going to scout an enemy to bait an attack, you want your march to reach them as quick as possible and to return as quick as possible. So then once they send a march and hit your keep, your march is back already and you can bubble. Okay, so that's that. Next step is talents. So you want to come into talents over here. So based on your presets that you have here, usually I have one preset that's set up for, let's say, peacetime. So this peacetime includes things like monster hunting. So I have like mortality on, my offering on that I do daily, my offering to the shrine. So this I'll usually, and stamina generation. So these nodes over here will be selected based on the peacetime. But my first preset over here will be for my PvP setup. So over here I'll have things like march speed, because I want to buff up my march speed. Healing cost, because I'm healing layers, I want to increase reduce the cost of healing and increase the speed of healing as well. So I'll have all of my necessary PvP nodes selected over here. So that's how I would set up these two sets. So I'll come in here and I'll activate this tree, or this preset for PvP. Okay, so once that's done, my Monarch gear is now set up, my talents are set up and my wall is ready. Next item I'll look at is blazons. So then I'll come to blazons. So the way that I have it set up is I'm using these presets. One for attacking, so you can have a look at the bottom of the screen here. You can see the set bonuses, and so this set bonus is for attacking. So if I'm mainly set up to take to defend or take defensive hits from the enemy, then I need to have this on the defensive set, right? For mounted, there is no defensive set. There's just an attacking set and a monster set. So if you look at the soul set, it's for monsters. So during peacetime, I'll usually have this, or when I'm not, actively hunting monsters, then I will set this to my honor set, which is for attacking. Okay, so what I would say about mounted is that you can just have a look at your actual individual blazons, the ones that have the best basic attributes. I would say select them. So like, let's say if your monster set has your best basic attributes, then you can keep that that on. But for the other troop types, so for ground range and siege, you want to enable your defending set, so to get the full defending set bonus. So that set bonus attributes at the bottom of the screen, that's what you want. So this I'll enable now. I'll keep this on, which is the defending set, so I can get the set bonus. And of course, like before SvS, well before the time, I'd come into each individual blazon and then upgrade them. Okay, so if I have blazons in my inventory, I can have a look at them and of course like upgrade them based on what my inventory is, and upgrade them to the best that I can. Okay, so that's a separate discussion, like blazons in its entirety, but this is what I do before SvS. I just enable my defending set. So you can see for ground rage and siege, I have my defending set on, and like I said, for mounted, you can choose whether to have your attacking set or you can keep on your monster set. Blazons is now done, so we went through your whole general, through the monarch gear and talents, and your blazons. The next thing you want to do is you want to enable under your shrine, you want to enable this king's protection. So depending on your shrine level, so let's say at the moment I'm K36, so the highest that I can go to is obviously shrine level 36, and that means that I need to offer 25 times in the day. So once I unlock this, at the moment my shrine level is 35, so I need to offer 20 times in order to enable King's Protection. It gives me 20% buffs, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. 20% range attack, 20% siege attack, mounted defense, and ground troop defense. And then of course, as your shrine level increases, you get more buffs and you just have to offer a little bit more. So at shrine level 36, you would offer 25 times to enable it. At shrine level 39, you have to um, offer 40 times, I think it is, to enable those buffs. So, or sorry, offer 30 times in order to enable those buffs. So you want these buffs on. The buffs last for a day, so 24 hours once they enabled. So at the beginning of the day, during after reset, for your daily activities, you can just offer 20 times or however many times that you need for your level of your shrine. How I usually do it, my method is I'll offer first. You want to use gems, because as the more you offer, the more expensive your offering will be via gems. So the first 10 times I usually use gems, and then I use my offer attributes after that. So your tributes you can get from the black market, or you can get it from the relics. That's like the easiest way to get those tributes. And then also in those daily rewards, you can also get tributes from those candies as well. So you can just look if you have them in your inventory. Okay, so once your shrine is done, that's the next thing you want to do. Okay, is shrine. So you have that buff running. Okay, next thing you can check is your under your senate. So it purely depends on your style of play. But since I'm defensive, what I want to do is I actually want to have my best generals here. So Elise, for example, I have ascended to 2 red stars. So she's actually my ground PvP general. But I would put her in the Senate just so that I can get these extra in-city range, in-city buffs. So you can see the in-city range troop HP, in-city siege machine defense. I want to get those buffs right, because my main aim during SvS is for the enemy keeps to attack me. Okay, so I want to buff up my defense or in-city buffs as much as I can. So I'll have my best general on there. Similarly, over here, whatever mounted general I have most, ascended, I'd also put them on the I'll put them on the Senate as well. And then similarly for range, I'll do the same. So it depends on how many Senate positions you have. You can just come to the Senate position and then just have a look at what buffs it gives you. And then depending on, who you have ascended or whether you have, 5-star general, you can enable. So for example, I don't have any more ascended ground generals to put on the Senate position. And if I put Oda on here at 5 gold stars, he gives me in rally ground troop defense. It doesn't really help me for SvS, because if I'm going to be taking, if I am just purely playing on defense, I want the ascension buffs that I get from the Senate position. So the defending range troop HP defending. So what you want to do under your Senate is just have a look at the positions. If they buff up in-city buffs or defending buffs, that's the one you want, particularly if you're taking attack. If your style of play is mainly attack, look for those attacking buffs. So like the marching, ground attack, the marching ground defense, um, and all of those like defensive buffs. So that's what you can do with your Senate. So usually I do this. I put my best generals on my Senate, at least for the buffs that I want. So they there as well. Okay, next thing what I'll do is um, okay, so next after that I would come to my bunker. Okay, so this bunker is important for ghosting troops. So particularly if you're going to um, take defensive hits, you want to ghost most of your high level, your high tier cabs. So depending on how much troops you're allowed to store in your bunker and the level of your bunker as well, you can place your high tier mounted troops there. So I'll usually just go for the 12 hours of the maximum. You can always pull them out afterwards when you need them. So I'll place these troops in my bunker. Okay, so they've been protected. So that's a less. The reason I do that is now there's less mounted troops for me to ghost. Okay. Okay, so now my buffs are enabled. Next thing I want to do is I want to come over here to your city buffs, and you want to enable these as well. Okay. Okay, so on this point, what I would say is if you are ready to take an attack, so let me just jump to one of the, so I'll come to all to the attack, defense and HP buff boosts and I'll enable them as well. But if you look at the bottom one over here, it lasts for 10 minutes and it gives me 50% buff increase. So this one, if I'm ready and I know that the enemy keep, let's say enemy keep has teleported to our server, and they, on our server at the moment actively like capturing a temple or something like that, I can bait the attack from them, right? So then, because it only lasts 10 minutes, I'd, I'd only enable this as soon as I'm ready to bait the attack. So I'd first ghost my troops and everything, then enable this with the maximum, buff, with that 50% buff, so that I obviously buff up my keep the best that I can. So if I'm expecting an attack to come in, then I'll have these big buffs on. But for the time being, because like in my inventory I have lots of these, like 1 hour, 20% buff boost, I've enabled this just so that I don't forget, or if like I'm ready to bait an attack now, and the enemy keeps do not attack. They scout my keep but they don't attack. At least I'll have these our 20% buffs on. So at least I'm buffing up my, I'm buffing up my stats a little bit. I'm buffing up my keep by 20% at least, and I know that that will last for an hour. Okay, so that's on. Um, so that's the next thing you want to do. Then also the other thing you want to do is you want to enable a march size buff. But so over here, like usually the medium march size buff and the senior march size buff is quite rare in your inventory. You'll usually have more junior march size buff increases, and that's what I typically would use, the junior march size buff. I'd enable that as well. So the reason why I say enable this is because so you can ghost more troops. The more march size you have, the more troops you can ghost. So depending on how many mounted troops you have in your keep. Okay, so now that we've set up all of those, that's everything that we need to do. So let me just think of anything else um, that we need to enable in our keep. Okay, the other thing you want to just double check is that all of your duty generals, in case you move them around, all of your duty generals are on the necessary buildings. Okay, because all of these duty generals, of course, they give you particular buffs depending on their main skill gives you buffs as well as the ascension. So if you have any of them ascended, you'll get some buffs. So ensure that these duty generals as well, that they are on the correct buildings so that you can get the buffs, the defensive buffs as well, from these duty generals, as well as the in-city buffs that they give you. um, you can get that, so you can double check that as well in your preparation. Okay, so that is pretty much all that you need to do inside your keep, right? Okay, the next thing that you want to do, sorry, okay, this was one thing that I forgot. Under civilization treasures, what you want to do here is keep it on this healing speed. um, you want to activate this the Globus piece in order to enable the healing speed. Because if you come to the hospital or when you want to heal through players, you want the highest healing speed, so that you can use less speed ups when you're healing your troops. Okay, yeah, I think that is about it inside your keep that you want um, done. So let's go to the world map now. So now I'll show you what you do before you bait an attack. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, so now I think a lot of our players or members have issues with ghosting troops, or are not really that um, proficient in ghosting troops yet. But I'll show you an easy way to ghost troops. So the one thing you need to keep in mind is sometimes you can ghost troops on monsters. Okay, so if you were ghosting, so let's just get a monster. Okay, so if you want to ghost out troops on this monster, what we'll do is we'll hit the alliance or tab, and we'll button, and we'll go and we'll choose, select the 60-minute rally, right? So this is going to ghost out troops in for this monster rally. So now what you'll do is you obviously select the march that you want to select, and you want to ghost whatever troops you're intending to ghost. So generally you'll ghost these guys first, the mounted troops. The reason why you ghost them is because if a ranged troop attack, if an enemy keep sends a ranged troop attack, these guys will die first, just purely because of their speed. They usually they run ahead of the in battle. So the enemy archers will hit your mounted troops first, and they start off with a high tier and move their way down. So they'll kill the T14s first and the T13s. So this is where that march size buff comes in. So if you have your march size buff, depending on which one you selected, if you chose the junior or the medium size, of course the medium you can ghost more troops, but it depends on your inventory, how much of that boost you have available. So you want to select these guys, and what you want to do is, so if I just reset here quickly, you don't want to select everything from this tier. So if you look at my T14 tier, I have some of them in my bunker already. So now my march size is greater than the amount of troops that I have for that particular tier. So um, now I can ghost all of them, right? But I don't actually want to do that. The reason being is I want some layers in my keep. Of course, you want to keep your enemy engaged all the time, so you want some layers available. So I'll just reduce this a little bit, or keep about, like, let's say 10 to 20,000 layers. So you can take the amount that's available to you and then just subtract like 20,000, let's say, okay, of that troop, so that they're available in your keep for additional layers. And then you can select the rest of your mounted troops. So you just want to enable, when you are ghosting, before you ghosting, you want to have that it just allow for some layers of every troop tier. Okay, so then you kick off this ghost rally, and then that basically will ghost those particular troops that you selected. Okay, so that's one way. The other way is, and I think it's the easiest way, when you are planning to stay at the hive. Okay, so let me just cancel that ghost rally. So if I'm planning to beta attack from the hive, like I am here, right, what I can do is I can actually reinforce one of my teammates. So let me select this march over here, and then I can send some troops. I can ghost these troops basically by reinforcing. Okay, that way. So the one issue that we have in our team at the moment is that people use the auto rally joiner. So if you are ghost rallying on a monster, sometimes people have not adjusted the filters on the rally joiner to exclude those smaller bosses, right? Or sometimes you can't find really a small boss to ghost the rally on, so you would ghost on like a higher level boss, and then those auto rally joiners will join your ghost march. So if you don't want to give up, like, you don't want to show the enemy keeps that you are actually ghosting, or um, give any indication to the enemy keep that you are ghosting troops, then you can just reinforce one of your teammates that's around you. So I usually, I would select somebody, of course, that is bubbled. Okay, so during SvS, most of our keeps are bubbled anyways because people have the three-day bubble, and if you know somebody isn't going to port away from the position, then I would say like just send. So so you see I already ghosted. I already sent out my T14 calves. So I want to keep that in my layers. So now I'll send my T13 calves, and we just keep 10,000 layers here. Okay, and then whatever else I want to ghost. So some more calves I can ghost. So typically you want to ghost your T14, 13 and 12 because they give away the most points during SvS, so you will ghost those troops. So what I do is like I showed you now, like I demonstrated, you will send or reinforce one of your teammates, and that will allow you to ghost those troops. Now typically you're ready. So like I said a couple of minutes ago when we had a look at these buff boots, that these boosts, you have these 50% boosts that's at the bottom, the super attack increase, right? You can now enable this. So your troops are now ghosted, or the troops that you wanted to ghost, you've now ghosted. Okay? So now you can enable those buff boosts if you want. So our enemy keep is on our server at the moment, and now you can hit you can hit these um, you can hit these big buffs. Okay, you can enable them. So you'll enable them, and then what you do is, so let's say this is the enemy keep. Then in order to bait an attack, of course you'll send a scout. So what I'm going to demonstrate now is that if you okay, so what I want to demonstrate is how your bubbles work. Okay, so or when to bubble and how to bubble. So your bubble, you won't let me find a keep. Okay, let me find a keep that's a bit further away that I'd like to scout. Okay, so let's go and find a dead keep. Yeah. Okay, so this keep is a bit of a distance away and will take my march some time to scout. So it's similar to if you were to scout a temple, for example. Okay, so now you want to basically bait this keep, but let's say if you were ghosting your troops on a keep, right? So let me ghost these guys. Okay, let me just demonstrate first. If I send the scout, okay, that's gonna take 23 seconds. Maybe that's not too much time. Let me go a bit further away to find a keep. Yeah, so let's see if I send the scout. Okay, 56 seconds. That's gonna give us some time, right, for the scout to reach there. When you send the scout, right, so over here you're gonna drop your bubble, which means you're gonna now be vulnerable for an attack. Okay, so now the enemy can attack you. Let's see if I can bubble up again. So let's go to your truce agreements. Let's try and apply one of these. Can you see that warning message there? You can't apply it because your scout is out. So that's why when you are baiting an attack, you of course want to use your speed ups. Okay, so as soon as this, so I'll show you quickly, as soon as this march arrives at the target, okay, so as soon as this march, so you saw me trying to enable a bubble while this march was out, it didn't allow me, but as soon as it reaches there I can bubble again. Okay, so that's what you so that's how you would bait the attack. Okay, so as soon as you send out a scout, they will probably send either a scout. So now you see that march reach. The march isn't back at my keep yet. It's still returning, but I can enable a truce agreement. So let's jump back. So here you can see the scout is on its way back to my keep, but I already bubbled. Okay, so typically what will happen is when an enemy keep is, let's say, at one of the temples, so the closest temple to us is the harvest temple. So when they send a, say if you want to scout that keep to bait them now, right? You'll send the scout, and as soon as your scout returns, they will probably, by the time your scout is still, heading to the keep, they would have sent an attack to you. So then what you do is you quickly speed that march in and then bubble. As soon as they hit your keep, you want to bubble. Okay? So as soon as the enemy attacks your keep, you would then bubble up. Bubble up, have a look at the scout report, check your power exchange and check your troops, heal your layers. That's the first thing you'll do. Heal your layers. Maybe you need to use some soul to revive your troops as well. Okay, but that's one. So let me demonstrate something else, and that's why I would suggest you using either reinforcing one of your teammates to ghost your troops. The other place that you can ghost troops as well is in the alliance mine. So if you're going to be positioned in the hive, you can always just send, the troops you want to ghost to the alliance mine. Okay, you can send these troops there, and you can ghost it that way as well. Okay, instead of having to ghost on a monster. Okay, the other thing is, and this is something that you typically see in Battlefield, but in SvS it's not a good idea to do. Okay, which is let's just find a keep, an enemy keep. Okay, I think we had this keep in our hive. So let's say if I ghost, so in Battlefield sometimes you'll see people will ghost troops on an enemy keep. So let's say I want to ghost these troops on this keep. Okay, so I'm ghosting these troops on this keep. Okay, so there you can see I have our ghost rally set up on that keep. Question is now, am I able to bubble? Try and bubble up? I can't. You see, so that's what I want to show you guys, is that when you're ghosting troops, don't ghost on an enemy keep. So if you have an enemy on our server, or some other, you know, some other keep like this one, don't ghost your troops on a keep like this, because you won't be able to bubble quick enough. Okay, so always ghost on a monster. So if you're on the enemy server, you just want to ghost on monsters. Okay, but if you're on our server, like I demonstrated a couple of minutes ago, you can send reinforcements with your ghost troops, like to a member keep, or you can send some troops to the alliance mine, and that's how you can ghost your troops. So once your troops are ghosted, then like I said, you'll send a scout, like I showed, to bait an attack. Once the attack comes in, you bubble up again. So you just need to ensure you're quite quick with bubbling. Okay, depending on how many enemy keeps are on our server, and of course you just want to take one. You want to take one attack, bubble up, heal your layers, and then maybe you can scout them again. Okay, if the power exchange was good for you, then you can drop your bubble again, and you can bait another attack. So that is typically what I would do to set up my SvS. uh, so hopefully that helps. So yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. Thanks.